So, when you hear the name Chernobog, what pops into your head? Probably some terrifying ancient god of darkness from Slavic mythology, right? Well, what if I told you that epic villain never really existed? At least, not in the way we think. Let's dig into the surprising truth behind the god we all thought we knew. His title is the Black God. You know, the one responsible for all the bad stuff. Bad luck, destruction, every single misfortune that could ever happen. Seems like a pretty straightforward classic bad guy, doesn't he? And yeah, that's definitely the popular story.
But here's the thing. For most of us, our idea of Chernobog doesn't come from some dusty old text. Nope, it comes from Hollywood, from video games, from books. He's become this absolute titan of pop culture.
I mean, just think about it. You've got the absolutely terrifying demon on Bald Mountain in Disney's Fantasia. That image of pure evil was nightmare fuel for generations of kids. Then you have the grumpy, hammer-wielding god from American Gods. Heck, even the name of that powerhouse Russian Jaeger in Pacific Rim, Cherno Alpha, is a direct nod to him. Pop culture has totally cemented him in our minds as the ultimate symbol of dark, scary power.
And what's really interesting is how his character in a show like American Gods starts to add these layers. He's not just a one-note evil dude. As Nerdist points out, he's gruff and dangerous, for sure, but his pride is what really drives him. He's this old god who feels left behind, devalued in a modern world. He's a character with real depth, which says a lot about what we look for in our villains today.
Okay, so keeping that modern image in our heads, let's rewind. Let's dive into the myth we're all told, the story of an epic, ancient cosmic war that supposedly defines his very existence. The popular myth is this perfect, clean-cut dualism. On one side, you've got Chernobog, the black god of darkness and winter, the root of all evil. And on the other, his cosmic opposite, Belobog, the white god of light and summer, the source of all good. It's this eternal struggle between two polar opposite forces. It's a classic story, right? Super compelling.
And where does this massive battle supposedly take place? Well, the stage is the World Tree. Now, this is a concept you see in a ton of mythologies. This giant, colossal tree that basically acts as the spine of the universe, connecting all the different realms of existence.
So picture this. Way up in the highest branches, you've got an eagle representing the heavens. Way down at the roots, there's a serpent for the underworld. And Chernobog and Belobog, they're locked in this never-ending fight for control over the whole shebang. It's a fantastic, powerful image, but is any of it actually real? So, does this epic myth actually hold up when we look at the history books? Well, let's take a peek at the actual record, because this is where that grand, epic story starts to, well, completely fall apart. So, where does this incredible story of cosmic warfare, of white gods and black gods, even come from? Which ancient Slavic text gives us all this juicy mythological detail? This right here, this single paragraph is the entire historical foundation for Chernobog. It was written in the 12th century by a German Christian priest named Helmold. He describes a ritual where some Slavs curse in the name of a bad god they call Chernobog, the black god. See the problems here? Our only source is an outsider, a Christian priest who's probably biased, and he's already dismissing their ritual as a strange delusion. Just one. That's it. That's the total number of direct historical mentions of Chernobog from that time, 1. Everything else, the cosmic wars, the world tree, his entire epic backstory, it's all been built on top of this one vague, second-hand account. And what about his famous arch-nemesis, Belobog, the white god? Get this, he's not mentioned in Helmold's text. Not at all. In fact, most historians now think he was basically invented by folklorists in the 19th century. They were likely influenced by Christian ideas of God versus the devil, and just created an opposite for Chernobog to make the story feel neat and balanced. Half of this supposedly ancient duo is a modern invention. So, okay, if the myth is pretty much fake, and the history is almost non-existent, why does this character have such a powerful grip on our imagination? This leads us to a whole new theory about what's really going on. This is the real million-dollar question, isn't it? Why does a god who is barely a footnote in some 12th century chronicle feel more real and more terrifying to us than hundreds of other gods who are way better documented? The answer might have to do with this idea of cosmic horror. And this isn't about jump scares or monsters in the closet. It's about that deep philosophical dread, that feeling you get when you realize how unbelievably tiny and insignificant we are in a vast, uncaring universe. The master of this stuff,
H.P. Lovecraft. He nailed it. He said, "The oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown." The things that scare us the most aren't the monsters we can see and define. They're the ones we can't. And historically speaking, Chernobog is a monster we absolutely cannot define.
And this is where it all clicks into place. Look at how perfectly Chernobog lines up with this. His vague origins, that's the very definition of the unknowable. The fact that we have no idea what his form or purpose was, that makes him a perfect stand-in for incomprehensible forces. Even Helmold's description of people cursing his name, that doesn't sound like worship, it sounds like a desperate act from people feeling helpless. He is basically cosmic horror in deity form.
So here's the key takeaway. Chernobog is so powerful precisely because he's a historical blank slate. His emptiness is his greatest strength. It creates this void, and we just project our deepest, most primal fears right into it. His terror comes not from history, but from our own imaginations.
And this has allowed us, over the centuries, to take him from being just a tiny historical footnote and transform him into a true cultural icon, reshaping him for every new era.
I mean, just look at his journey. He starts as a vague mention of a black god way back in the 12th century. Then, in the 19th, he gets a makeover as a classic good versus evil villain. In the 20th century, Disney gives him that iconic, terrifying demonic form. And today, in the 21st century, he's reborn as this complex, layered character trying to find his place in a new world.
So you see, he isn't some static figure from the past that we've rediscovered. He's a living archetype. He's an empty vessel that each generation fills up with whatever it happens to be afraid of most, whether that's cosmic evil, the loss of old traditions, or just the dark and the unknown. So maybe the real mystery here isn't about Chernobog at all. Maybe it's about us. He keeps showing up because, in some weird way, we need him to. Which leaves us with the real question, what does our ongoing need for a black god really say about the fears we carry and the stories we tell ourselves to try and make sense of the darkness?